Elevation tags are used to document the way that the front of your building or the sides and back of your building will look. We can find elevation tags here in our drawing, and they're these rectangles with the triangular shapes that are pointing toward the building. Each of these elevation tags has a corresponding view underneath the project browser, and we can find those underneath Elevations, Building Elevation, and we can see that they have the names East, North, South, and West. The south elevation corresponds to if this was a map, and this is the south side, this would be the north side, this is east, and this is west. Let's double click on the word south underneath elevations in the project browser. This is going to open up the south elevation view, and as we can see inside of this view, this is what the front of our building looks like. Normally, once you have a south elevation or north elevation view, you can come in, you can adjust such things as the height associated with each of the levels. Also, you can place dimensions, do notes, and be able to mark this up so that it has the appropriate information so the building can be built. Now let's take a look at Plan View again. So move up here and select on the X in the upper right-hand side of the screen. Once you do that, you'll see the 4 elevation tags again. And I want to point out that if you highlight over one of these elevation tags, the body will highlight, and then the little tip of it will highlight. And the reason is that they do 2 separate things. The tip, or the triangular shape, if you select on that, what you're going to see is a single line going across here. You want anything that should show up inside of the elevation to be on this side of this line. In other words, if this line would happen to be crossing over or be behind an object, you wouldn't be able to see it in elevation. Now, let's double click really quickly on the triangular shape, and you'll see that that's another way that you can use the elevation tags to be able to zoom in or be able to go to a specific view that you want to be able to see. Once again, I'm going to come up here into the upper right-hand side and click on the X. Now do the same thing with this elevation tag up here, the north elevation tag. Double click on it really fast. In this case, we're seeing the side of the building. We can see the glass that makes up the different curtain wall assemblies, and we can see the wall here. That's the north side now of our building. Click on the X. Now each of these are exterior elevation tags. They don't necessarily have to be square, but by default in this case they are. I will say though that if you select on the actual rectangular portion, one of the things that you'll see is some extra arrows showing up as well as boxes there. Also, if you select on your properties, we can see this particular one, this is the elevation, building elevation. If you click where this picture is at, you'll notice there's also another option here that says interior elevation. By clicking on that, we can see that the tag will now change to be a circular tag, which in this instance has been set up so it will look like it's an interior elevation tag, which is used to define such things as the way that a bathroom layout might look, or how the cabinets in a kitchen may look. Click one more time here on the Type Selector list under Properties and select on Building Elevation to bring this back to be a rectangular shape. Now that interior one is the one that you're probably going to be a little bit more likely to have the extra arrows associated with it. So let's create a condition like that over here inside of our drawing. In this instance, I'm going to zoom in to one of the bathrooms. It currently has no fixtures placed inside of it, so it's going to look like it's in the inside of a blank room, but that's going to be okay for us for right now. Move up underneath the View tab on the ribbon, then find the Elevation tag and select on Elevation. Here on the Type Selector list under Properties, change this to be an Interior Elevation tag. Then move this in here, and I don't care which direction that the arrow is pointing in, just click once it gets to be inside of the space. And then hit Escape a couple of times to get out of the command. The next thing I'd like you to do is select on the circle and put a check mark in each of these boxes that show up. And then click out here in space. What we've done is we've now placed an interior elevation and it's looking in all 4 directions. Now, if we would look at one of these 3 elevations, we wouldn't be able to see much other than just a wall. But this elevation here, which I'll call the south elevation, which is elevation 1-B, we should be able to see a door with it. So if you double click really fast on the arrow there we can see that wall with the door inside of it. So we were able to, on the fly, create an elevation based off of that elevation tag. Also, if we look into the project browser at this point, we'll see that there's a new category associated with interior elevations. And if we expand that out, we can see each of those different views, including elevation 1-B, which is the view that we're currently in. So to place elevation tags, it's a matter of coming underneath the View tab and then selecting on the elevation tag. You will notice that in this case, it shows up as being grayed out. To place an elevation tag, you have to be inside of a plane view to place your elevation tag. So elevation tags are designed to allow you to create either interior or exterior elevations to better document your designs.